excited to bring this first series with you. It's going to be C9 Pioneers.
And I like what you said, you know, it could be 2, but at the same time, could be 3. Pioneers showed enough last week against Optics to suggest that in a best of 3, it is definitely possible they could take a game here against Cloud9. Even though Cloud9 have been pretty ruthless with their opposition throughout the history of HCS competition and also from last week, I do think that Pioneers definitely are within a shot of at least taking one map here. Catalyst capture the flag to start things off though. That's always going to be a good sign for me. Anytime that we see teams playing on this map and mode, everyone's on an even playing field. They all started playing it at the same time. No team has necessarily more practice than the other. So I think this is going to be a really good shot for Pioneers to try and break the mold a little bit.
Certainly love starting with this game type. To be honest, in our best of 3s, even in our best of 5s, just how the chips fell, we didn't exactly get a ton of the new game types that happened to come into late in the bracket. So it's good to start things off here with a brand new game type. Also, CTF Catalyst quickly becoming one of the favorites of the new game types across these teams. A pretty tricky CTF map to get right. We saw what C9 was able to do against Optic last week. You saw it early if you missed the pre-show, that bound overkill to get the overtime winner. A highlight reel clip if we've ever seen one. But after that, Dan, Slayer Streets and maybe Strongholds Recharge.
That being said, Slayer Streets, pretty good map for Pioneers as well. They have been that team that a lot of others in North America have touted as one of those squads that kind of just run at you. Round corners, slide, thrust, whatever they can find to get close to you and initiate those fights and try and catch you off guard, try and surprise you. Cloud9 can play fast at the same time, but I do think Streets is going to allow for a very chaotic game. I'm sure both of these teams will thrive in that kind of scenario, and I'm very excited when we do, and I'm glad we get at least that Slayer Streets happening on our screens.
Same for me. I'm glad we have also starting things with Catalyst, that it isn't a potential game 3, but that's instead game 1. Given the way that we've seen Catalyst play, not only, of course, in opens as well as last week, even the matches that we've played online and ranked, given the way that map plays, right, it's less of a fly at each other map, right? You do have to have a little bit more coordination in terms of pushing these corners, pushing out the bases. It's a little bit harder to do, and as Mark talked about in the pre-show, you generally have to slay twice at a minimum. Given the playstyle of these two teams, anything you're expecting in that game number 1?
Yeah, I'm wondering whether we're going to see something similar from not just last week, but what we've seen developing in scrims is where teams will get a good idea of where the opposition is pushing, and all 4 of them just go the other direction, the other side of the map. And then you see both flags picked up, and they both run the same way back, and you just get a flag standoff, and it's down to who is going to take that initiative to be the initial pusher, who's going to try and break that mold and try and get that return.
All right, and starting things off with the man himself. It's bound to right away denies that overshield bottom middle. Now flies continuous on Ivy side. He'll run into 2 though and get taken down. So that'll be 3 dead for C9 off of the opening.
Yeah, nice start for them. Starting strategy very important on Catalyst because you can get that flag very quickly. Not just at the end game is it quick to get it from one side to the other, but same happens at the start. Unfortunately, not going to see the skewer put into effect right at the beginning. Nice aggression coming out from Eco.
Yeah, right here you see just everyone holding forward off the opening. It was 3 dead for each side, and then after that, 2 dead for both sides. Now Cloud9 will find themselves 3 dead once again off of the back of that, so will be a momentary advantage for Pioneers here. A potential pull opportunity. Flag will be off the stand.
Flag off the stand, and Manny is going to be just watching and waiting, but now this is the important factor. You go back, and you also give as much information as possible to the rest of your team. He knows there's at least 2, if not 3, over towards Ivy. He can feed that to the flag guy. The flag guy can keep moving. Should be safe to get it at least into the base, but then you have the battle within your base.
Let's see what Bound the Eco can do there with the first. Does not get the cap. Oh my God, almost bull-trued off the stand. And Bound is on the return. Who else but Bound on the flag stand? My God, what a goal line stand to start things off here in Pro Series number 6. Bound picking up where he left off on Catalyst CTF.
And we saw that last week in Cloud9 versus Optic. You can get so close to putting that flag in, but it's so easy to just get kind of tunnel visioned onto trying to put it onto that spot. And those grenades, the shots, they do come in. Cloud9 stop it. They get the return, and now they can start moving a flag of their own. That's fantastic from C9. They seem to always be in the right place at the right time.
Look at the patience, look at the timing from C9. Now Pang will bring the flag all the way back. Eventually he will get found out though. 3 dead for C9 based on numbers. What can Seller do all alone? He should fall. This should be on paper an easy return for SoulSnipe, but already so much to talk about in this game. One of the big things we got to talk about while we have a final moment with both flags back on the stand, Dan, was Eco actually wrapping back to his base to make sure they killed the player on his spikers, and then he and Bound pushed together last second. Perfect timing on the return.
Really good. And honestly, so many times you'll see that flag get put in. If you don't hit that perfect grenade, if you don't hit that perfect BR shot. But C9, they are perfection.
Oh my God.
I mean, they have always been perfection, and almost Taulek gets away with it, but unfortunately misses a couple of shots. Stellar will take full advantage. When you watch Cloud9, you don't expect mistakes, and even though they've got this bound as a current pickup or a new pickup, whatever it may be, they seem to be just fitting in exactly to where they should.
Bound gets a little bit unlucky there, or maybe a bit surprised. That was 4 dead momentarily, but while staring at the flag, 2 players of Pioneers will spawn flag, 1 will spawn court, and he'll be taken down immediately. That will result in a full flip of control. 3 dead momentarily for C9. Pioneers going to have to look to bounce back once again, but still what a stop. That stop will keep us here at 0-0.
Taulek with 11 kills is going to prove to be a problem for Cloud9, I'd say. When a player on Catalyst is starting to pop off and can just rotate around the map and consistently find kills, it can be very difficult to get one of those flags moving, to get any sort of control. And I feel like that's why Cloud9 haven't really been able to get a proper run yet, and it's because of Taulek.
Absolutely. As you say, big numbers from Taulek. And one thing that we just saw on screen was the spikers coming into play. They were also a huge factor in that bound overkill as well that you saw in the pre-show. And when you look at a map like Catalyst that's so fractioned off and cornered off, where you really have to push in these big 90-degree angles, great work from Manny here as well to grapple and slide to get this flag off the stand a bit earlier. He's going to have to change his route as he goes. Maybe a bottom mid run here to bottom Ivy. That will be the call. He'll try to stay alive during the run. But we're still seeing every inch matters, whether you're able to grab repulse or grapple. Overshield, of course, but even spikers can be the difference in a successful push and breaking a setup.
So overshield's going to be important, but it's not always easy to get. Everyone's going to have their eyes set on it, and you're going to get this cross-map situation happen. And Manny says, you know what, screw the overshield. A flag will actually be the better decision here, because I'd rather go 1-0 up, as the OV will then be grabbed by a Cloud9 member. So we're going to see, how does this pay off? Is there going to be a Cloud9 member to stop this run?
You have to wonder if he's going to get there in time. Lots of shots coming in. Stellar's there with the overshield as well. Flag does go down on the stand. They should be able to get this re, and you have to wonder. Overshield call there, maybe not the right one based on how that played out.
If they lose a flag here, definitely the wrong call. I like going for the initiative of, I want to cap a flag, I want to take the lead, but at the same time, you have to be prepared. You need a teammate to help you with that OV that's inevitably going to be chasing you, and there you go. There's the counter cap. It very much was the wrong call, and Pioneers maybe will have that as a life lesson for next time.
Very rarely can we state that, of course, from our commentary desk. You know, there's so many factors going into these decisions there, but on paper, you certainly think maybe playing for that overshield in some capacity, at least on the battle. Taulek not able to get the sword lunge off, at least playing for that. Needed to be a decision just because running the flag high with an overshield pushing low, the flag dies on the stand, and as a result, C9, as you say, will go up 1-0. Taulek still 16 on the board. He's 16-9. Stellar, though, 13-10. Excuse me, Stellar and Bound, 13-10, respectively.
And even though I don't want to talk about the play too much, but certainly something we can consider is maybe he just felt like if he had gone for the overshield, he was dead for rights anyway with how Cloud9 was set up around it. So he just wanted to try and do something to maybe counter the overshield that was inevitably going to be grabbed. But a flag is going to be pulled once more. Stellar, of course, trying to escort it back to base, but there's already a player there. But unfortunately for SoulSnipe, gets caught out on that pull. It is so detrimental when you get caught pulling the flag because you are in no man's land.
Stellar getting a lot of free damage here, knowing he can 1v2. Also, Plasma Pistol out. That will not hit, and SoulSnipe will take advantage of it. Huge play for him to stay alive. That will now bring 2 dead for C9.
18 kills and a flag in hand for Taulek. And Cloud9 struggling to keep him at bay at the moment. Need to keep him kind of arm's length away. Eco has to get this kill as well, and might be able to get an overshield just off the back of the kill. And I think that's what's important, is you really need to time when you're picking up this OV.
3 dead there. As you see, the flag will go in. Now tied 1-1. Pioneers will bring that one in. We'll see if it's a counter opportunity as they're going to try to clear out the back flag. Taulek will fall. Druk will fall as well. This should be a pull for Stellar. It will start in the courtyard. Eco still with a little bit of overshield to play with as well as he's trying to stay alive in the court. It's a top mid run for C9.
And we've seen it again, right? It was what they did previously, and even though it's not necessarily the meta, as it were, to be running that flag top middle, if you do it correctly, it is the quickest way to get it across the map.
Penguin here. Last player alive for C9. All players die in the court. Gets this kill there. Guys, though, on the this should be a return. Return does go in for Pioneers. Now, Pioneers running a flag off of the back of the Cloud9 3 dead.
And that's why sometimes you don't run the flag top middle, because you are so vulnerable to grenades. You are so vulnerable to a team just banking everything off those walls.
Wow.
Pioneers now take the lead 2-1. That will go in. There's not going to be any heroic last stops from Cloud9.
Barely, though. Look at that 4 dead right away, and they barely get that flag in. Flashing red shields for the flag carrier. They will get the cap, but C9 now looking to answer back right away. Once again, excuse me, as that flag will continue. As I sound like Elmer Fudd for a moment. Flag coming in here, bottom of the base. All 4 players alive for C9 as they bring this back. 2 dead for Pioneers. This flag should go home.
I mean, this game has been so fast-paced, I haven't even been able to say how much I appreciate Catalyst capture the flag to watch. I know there's some players who maybe aren't quite used to it yet, don't necessarily enjoy the speed of which it plays and how crazy it is to be involved, but as a viewing experience, an unbelievable watch, constant action, 2-2, we're tied up now. Cloud9 off the back of that, all 4 dead, are able to put the flag in.
Let's see where that overshield goes as well. Going to pop in 4 seconds. As you say, 2-2 with 4 minutes left on the clock. Eco tries to stay alive. He will trade out. Will be 3 dead for C9, though. Seller was the only player alive for just a moment. Keeping an eye on that overshield. He's going to have his eyes on it as well. Grapple so key to be grabbing that overshield on Catalyst. He'll stay alive in the court.
A lot of responsibility when you've got that overshield. Have to be hoping that you don't walk into just 3 players staring at you, because even though with the changes you can get melted very quickly with that Ovi, but now Stella should be able to stop this flag. And again, whilst running the flag top middle leaves you vulnerable to grenades when you're running it, leaves you vulnerable to returning it at the same time, but just about stays alive thanks to that extra health from the Ovi.
I was going to say overshield so key in that flag return. Eco last player alive again, so a lot of overextension coming in from C9, but it pays off in the end. They will keep the game just like that. Tied at 2-2. Fantastic use of the overshield from C9. Keep in mind, Stellar was the only player alive when he grabbed. Also, as we said, using that grapple to make sure that flag comes home. Without those 2 plays, you have to think it might be a Pioneers 3-2 right now.
Sword is in the hands of the Pioneers. Actually, as I say that, it gets ripped away from SoulSnipe. All 3 members that were on that one side of the map got taken down. So Druk left on his own, carefully planning to stay alive and hoping to get a cheeky little back whack, but do Cloud9 check their corners? He would have definitely heard there's a player above him here, and he might have the jump on Penguin.
Probably going to work together with Taulek here. The call doesn't come in, though. He actually spots Penguin just a little bit late there. Probably heard the footsteps, but didn't know exactly where to go, so Penguin actually sneaks through for just a moment, but now going to be 2 dead for the side of Pioneer, so Druk needs to play this very carefully and does well to get that kill on top to even things 2-2. That flag shouldn't be too dangerous as long as Taulek can help get the stop.
Do so much damage with this sword, especially with a repulsor or a grapple alongside it, but you've got to be careful of the grenades. They're constantly going to be flowing towards you, but there we go, there's going to be the first kill. Now it's just about staying alive. Great cleanup from Cloud9, but at the same time 3 of them have fallen.
Yeah, great job here from our observer to identify SoulSnipe across enemy lines. He's now going to go top mid instead, but 2 players are at gold, so this is not going to be the easiest kill for him. He gets 1, helps out on Bound. Penguin also spawns gold, so these spawns certainly coming in favor of C9. Flag is still out, and that was 3 dead for Pioneers. It should be a flag grab and an overshield grab here for Penguin.
Perfect when the Ovi just spawns at that right time, when you've been able to get a little bit of map control, and now Penguin can look to try and help this flag run that's going to be inevitably happening as well. But SoulSnipe does get some good grenades here onto Penguin. I don't think he's going to get the kill with the sword, and he's going to give it away.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking a look here at the flag, and exactly as we expected, C9 able to bring that flag back home, and just crucial timing. But we got to talk about the spawns there. I think all 4 players on C9 get the gold spawns during the gold flag run. That allows them to really catch a player like SoulSnipe off guard. He's top mid. He thinks he has the right damage. He wins a 1v2 for a second on gold side, but all the spawns keep coming gold. That gets C9 their flag 3-2 with only 1 minute left.
1 minute means it's go time for the Pioneers, and unfortunately for them, there's going to be a Cloud9 flag run happening, but with a couple of the players falling, if Pioneers can get into a position to stop this, then a counter cap is very much on the cards, and we've seen it happen so many times already in Pro League.
Look at Penguin just staying alive, gets a little drop slide to try to get the flag there faster, stays alive, maybe 1 more touch out of him. He's going to toss it and stay alive. Fantastic work while there's 2 dead. He's going to get full shields and even should get this cap right now. Perfectly timed from Penguin. And let there be lessons learned there. You do not need to rush those flags home. Take your time, use the cover of the pillars. You got a much better chance to bring that flag home. They will go up 4-2 with 25 seconds left. That should be the icing on the cake.
And you know full well that Penguin was just listening to those comms, looking at that kill feed, making sure that there was at least room for error there. It didn't matter too much if he did go down. He knew his teammates were picking up kills here, there, and everywhere. As the Pioneers, I think they've accepted that 10 seconds is not enough to run a flag, and Cloud9 are going to take the lead in this series.
Certainly not enough time to run 2 flags either. The time will tick down, and it will be C9 taking your game number 1 Catalyst CTF, but certainly not the easiest game type for them. Pioneers putting up a great fight, but Bound, Stellar, Eco, and Penguin, as we said, picking up where they left off last week.
I'm loving this Cloud9 roster. I did hear that initially maybe there were some troubles for Bound when he first joined this team, but Penguin, fantastic at breaking the ice, made sure he welcomed him in, and they really have looked like a squad that is going to be the real deal here at Andy.
There he is, Cloud9 not only on the board, but Dan Gaskin also on the board there with some fantastic wordplay. Very lucky to be alongside you for this. If you're just joining us here, this is the HCS NA Pro Series number 6. Cloud9 takes game number 1 over the Pioneers, and a fantastic Catalyst CTF to kick things off. Taking a look at some of the stats here, it was Taulek leading the game, but in the end, Slow and Steady wins the race. It's Stellar who goes 28-14.
Yeah, and stats across the board, I mean, you're going to have different roles in a game for sure, and you're also going to have different spawns. Sometimes it's very important that you push out to try and break a setup, like push out to try and help a flag. Sometimes you have to be the one who dives on a return, and that can really affect your stats. But when we look at the damage dealt, Eco, for example, 7k that he was outputting. Same for Taulek on the other side. And just genuinely, that was a really fun game to watch to kick off this week's Pro Series.
Yeah, really great way to start the Pro Series week indeed. Take a look at some of the highlights from that game, because it was a great one. Here was your goal line stand. Stellar flies back with the overshield, and this was that 0-0 stop. Look at how close that flag was. My God. They go ahead and they get that pull. Unsurprisingly, this one does go home. I also love this from Stellar, right? He does not think about dropping and shooting on a goal side. He goes straight through because he's seen teams make that mistake. Also, great work from Taulek here to grapple slide this one. And look at the shields, barely gets it in. Druk will die immediately after as well. But those flag pulls so dangerous. And if you can get the flag out past courtyard into either your gold hall or your Ivy hall, here's Manny bringing this flag in as well. And look at this once again, barely gets away with it. It feels like these flags, you really got to work hard for them, Dan.
Well, there was 2 or 3 times where Pioneers had the flag on the spot and Cloud9 were able to stop them, and that's so difficult when you as a team probably feel like you've done enough, you deserve that flag cap. But unfortunately, Catalyst, it takes them away from you, and you have to be prepared to take that fight in your base afterwards, or you can play it this way like Penguin did. And I love that you highlighted it. He had the chance to wait for his shields, to take his time, and then he popped that final flag winning cap in for Cloud9. We go into Slayer Streets, and this is going to be where Pioneers really need to up the ante a little bit. Taulek, I'm going to be looking at him. He had so much damage. He was slaying out like crazy. Needs to do the same here on Streets.
Absolutely. They need to bring the pressure to C9 once again. Of course, Street Slayer, as we get into game number 2, a game type that can be played slowly, but we both know that these two teams are at their best when they are playing at a fast pace. Taulek early on with a nice assist, going to continue shooting in the L, gets a second one. You might argue he should have got, so it'll be 3 dead for Pioneers. Taulek, last player alive in the back of Tram off of the opening.
Does have the Stalker Rifle though, and we know what damage this gun can do. A 3-shot to the head, of course, and is really hard to try and take if the player hits their shots. But I tell you what, beats a Stalker Rifle, a Bulldog, very much so.
My God, Penguin, even though there was a Stalker Rifle drop ready for that, Penguin coming in with a 2-tap of the Bulldog, that will immediately annihilate that threat. And we'll instead change things up here for just a moment as we take a look at Eco here, pushing in from Laundry.
Nice shots and nice assisting work from Eco as well. You've got to be very confident as a player to be able to stand in the kind of bottom middle areas of the map, and I think it's important to do so on Streets as well. Because even though you feel vulnerable, like you can be shot from a lot of different angles, you also get a lot of cover if you know where the other team is and where they're spawning.
Absolutely, take a look. Just staying alive once again here. Going to push up on Heaven and try to get some angles on Druk, last player alive here in back A.
Good shots again, but Eco looking to get aggressive this time, gets somewhat punished. Can't see the scoreboard at the moment, so I just have to do my best quick math. Pioneers on 9, and it's going to be 13 for Cloud9, so they have a very small but quite a significant lead at the same time.
Going to be big time leaning on you, Dan, for that math, as well as, of course, producers here, our friends at Esports Engine. There we go, and all you have to do is ask, and the scoreboard comes on screen. 15-11 now, 15-12 in favor of Cloud9, 2 dead for each side.
I might have to jump on a few players here. That nade does give his position away. That happens so much in Halo Infinite, where you think your nade is going to help you get some kills, but if it doesn't connect whatsoever, you lose your jump, you lose the advantage you would have had, and then you have to back off. You have to wait for teammates instead.
16-14 there. Don't worry, those of you who thought you might be going insane at home trying to figure out if the scoreboard was always in the same place that it is in Halo Infinite. Don't worry, it is, and it's back 18-16. Now it's a 2-kill lead for the side of Cloud9. I want to thank you for joining us here for this week of HCS NA Pro Series. Been a fantastic start to the day. We hope you join us through the afternoon or evening, depending on where you're tuning in for around the world now. 3-kill lead for Cloud9. Rockets in the hands of Stellar. He'll pick up 1. He'll pick up 2 with the assist. That's 3 dead for Pioneers.
And just in case you were hiding under a rock, we still aren't seeing a few teams in Pro Series. They're still waiting to maybe make some changes. That's the rumors that we've heard. But Cloud9 and Optic are the 2 big guns that are playing in this tournament. And we're expecting them both to get to the final again. But the Pioneers, G2, they're the teams that are their closest competitors. They're the ones who are trying to make a difference. But at the moment, 25-19, Pioneers find themselves 6 kills behind. And if this kind of scoreline keeps following, where Cloud9 are picking up maybe 3 kills in favor of Pioneers 2, it's going to be so tough to get back into the game.
Certainly, this is the point where they need to slow things down. That little pull, ooh, Penguin staying alive on the gen as well. Little moments like that are the ones that are going to continue to add up against the side of Pioneers. Stellar and Bound both on 8 kills already. Eco and Penguin on 7 and 6 respectively, just really in lockstep here of this entire C9 roster.
Just trying to pin them back into C at the moment are Cloud9. I think Pioneers are just kind of waiting and hoping that Cloud9 will make a mistake, make one step wrong that they can take advantage of. But when you walk straight into a Bulldog on your own, there's got to be questions asked there. What was the play? What was the decision? Were you trying to make a distraction for the team? And if you were, where was the rest of the Pioneers? They seem to be a little bit stagnant, standing still, flat-footed. Cloud9 very much taking advantage of it.
Absolutely. When you got Penguin there with a Bulldog in the wings, cold-blooded killer just coming across 34-25, a 9-kill lead as he's going to sit in the L and now just continue patrolling to check the back A at PD spawns. You see they're already popping up on your screen. Rocks popping up as well.
Can still do some damage from the distance, can the Bulldog, but not enough to take down Manny. Is this the big enough break, though, for Cloud9's chances? Can Pioneers actually take advantage of maybe having a 4 versus 3? But Cloud9 still managed to get Rockets despite the fact they were a player down. That's what Penguin just did so well, is that he knew Rockets were coming up, so he threw himself at Pioneers, caused enough of a distraction. Cloud9 pick up Rockets and they get kills because of it.
I think a free rocket will land into PD for the side of Pioneers, so maybe an opportunity for them to get a little bit more here. There's a rare drop shield up on Heaven there. Bound's going to have to retreat to Laundry. Almost gets away with it, but instead will be taken down. Bottom middle, taking a look at the score here. 32-39 as the 7-kill lead continues for C9. Bulldog in hand for Taulek, though.
And I'm wondering whether we will ever see, Pioneers get this victory, right? So many weeks that we've seen Pioneers play against these top 3 teams, and we always tout them as the maybes, the what ifs. Like, they could do it, they could have that chance, but they never seem to get there. Even though they're having close enough games to suggest they're good enough players, we know they are. They're a top 5, top 6 team, maybe top 4 on a really good day. But unfortunately, Cloud9, likes of Optic, Sentinels, they just seem to be that one step ahead. And I'm wondering what it is for Pioneers that they need to change to be able to catch up with the rest of the pack.
I agree. 42-36 here. My God, Stellar with a perfect kill before the Bulldog can strike yet again. And it's kills like that that continue to give C9 such a commanding lead. And in a moment where you thought Pioneers might be able to rally a comeback, the 8-kill lead gets extended once again for the side of C9. Stellar just patrolling around A court, also just staying alive in tires. No, there's some actions at Neon's, only 4 kills away from closing out game number 2.
Yeah, you can't imagine the Pioneers have it in them to get a comeback now. I've seen amazing things happen on Halo Infinite, but Cloud9 seem to be the ones who usually are outputting those amazing things happening. Just 2 kills now remaining.
Just playing the advantage here, but Druk staying alive. 48-42, not over yet. That trade, though, he couldn't afford it. One more kill, that will be it for C9. They will close out the series 2-0 in game number 2 with a score of 50-43. It's a convincing victory overall for Cloud9 over Pioneers.
It's a very solid one. It's always a chance of a banana skin happening when you go up against the likes of KCP, the likes of G2, who on their day can be very hot and heavy, but Cloud9 a very professional performance from them. They seem to be pushing correctly. They weren't making too many mistakes, if any, that I could realistically talk about. And that's just a shame, really, for KCP. You've got to hope that Cloud9 make mistakes that you can jump on, especially when they've made this team change. There should be cracks, right? There should be areas where maybe they don't know what to do in certain situations because they haven't, as a 4, played together in those situations. But it doesn't seem or look like Cloud9 are out of favor at any point.
Not at all. And I think going back to, like you said, what does Pioneers need to do? For me, it comes down to film, right? There was a specific moment in that game where they went down by about 7 kills and they could never recover after that. They end the game actually with a 7-kill deficit. And at little moments here, they're able to bring the game back within 5, for example. But it's little moments I think they need to take a look at the film as we take a look at the stats to determine where those break points are. Druk will go 14 and 12. On the other side, it's great numbers from the entire C9 roster.
Amazing numbers, consistent on the assist board as well. Bound, the only player who doesn't have as many assists, but we come to expect that. We know that Bound is often the player who's leading the charge, initiating that damage, and maybe isn't going to be getting the assist, but might be finishing those kills at times. Even damaged out as well across the board. You could say the same maybe on the side of Pioneers. Manny maybe lacking a little bit in that department. Close to doubling his damage taken over his damage dealt, and that's always a question mark for me. Are you doing enough as a player? Are you putting yourself in maybe too many 1v2s? And perhaps that's something that the Pioneers need to look back at when they go over the tape and they try and look for those improvements they so desperately need to try and catch up with the likes of Cloud9 and Optic.
Yeah, let's not forget, earlier on, this game was so close, right? We saw it was about 15 to 12. Shortly after that, 19 to 16. This game was certainly not only within reach, but neck and neck for the large part. But it really was a turning point when we saw C9 start to just pull away there. Right around really that 21, 23 kill mark is where things got to be trouble. Stellar with a great job here. He just pushes B Arcade really quickly, just gets all the damage that he needed to, and that paved the way for them to close out the game. And at the end, C9 was just playing the numbers. They're playing high percentage plays. They're getting the right damage, and they closed that game out. They knew it was theirs to win, and they're able to close out the series with a score of 2-0.
And those final moments with the Bulldog was probably the only time we saw KCP having the Bulldog in hand. And I cannot stress enough how important it is to be making sure you're on top of it, making sure it's in the hands of one of your players, and also treating it like a power weapon. You can't afford to give it away. You can't just throw yourself into situations too many times and then allow the other team to have it in their possession, because they will make you pay for it. They will make it count, and suddenly those 2 or 3 kills you were behind very quickly turn into 6 or 7, and then you're down and you lose the game.
Yeah, I think that was certainly it. And guess what? We're getting word here where we're going to check out the Optic G2 series as well, which is a nice rare treat. We don't always get to get into both of our series on both sides of the winner's bracket here based on timing. But now we're in Street Slayer. It's a 39-32, an awfully similar score line. As we take a look, it's going to be Optic here leading in the series 1-0 and also leading in the game 41-32.
Yeah, we're joining right at the end when, similarly to what we saw in the Cloud9 game, it seems like Optic have got control towards the latter stages. We don't know what it was like right at the start, but now look at this from Rami. He's going to be able to pick up a double. And if you want to be able to find yourself a situation where maybe you can get back into a game, that is going to do fantastically for you. Although I say that, when he did get the double, the kills were ticking up on the red side, so I'm wondering whether maybe G2 might have the lead here.
Might be watching Lucid's POV.
This is okay. That makes more sense. It's Lucid.
Lucid there just racking up the kills. I agree. The kills were ticking up real fast there, not only in red room, but on the red side of the scoreboard as well. 48-35. It's a wild finish here from Optic Gaming as we join this in progress, and they're going to make it look like a cakewalk. Remy alive back A. Probably not for long, though. Optic Gaming will close it out, and they will close out the series 2-0. Game 2 is going to be 50-36.
And I was going to say, I'm a big fan of Rami and what he's able to achieve, but that didn't necessarily look like what I'm used to seeing out of Rami. It looked a little bit more familiar, and it was Lucid. I mean, you've been able to see, and we've been able to see so much of his POV as of late, streaming a lot. Definitely go and check out his Twitch channel because he is doing a lot to keep Halo in for as much numbers as possible on Twitch, and it is great to see what he's able to do, not just in these ranked games, but also in the HCS as well. Optic will take the victory, though. That means they move on into the winners final, where, of course, they will play against Cloud9. We get the rematch once more, bruv. Who would have expected anything other?
Of course, it's once again, as we say so many times before, this is the match that we came for. I agree, though, at the end there, it looked like a little bit of Lucid, not only Lucid streaming, but even a little bit of Lucid dreaming as he was on an absolute roll there in the end. We'll take a look at some stats from that game. Was Lucid on your screen that went 13-7. Formal also popping off with a performance of 16-11.